Hey, Mike here from MikeStinger.com, and I am here doing a video chat with Keith. Bloemendaal? Bloemendaal?
Yes. Yeah.
Either or, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
No, it's Bloemendaal.
Oh, Bloemendaal. Okay, I forgot to ask you that before we started this, but
That's all right.
me and Keith, we've been friends for 2, 3 years now, and both pretty involved with social media and things of that nature. And so I wanted to get on here and do a video chat with Keith and really just get some of his thoughts about social media and things of that nature. And I also hope to be doing more of these video chats with social media professionals and also people that are active in the social media space. So, Keith, go ahead and let people know, a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, my name's Keith Bloemendaal, as Mike said. It's a Dutch name. I didn't ask for it. It's spelled weird, but that's my name. I do a number of things actually. I have an online store that I sell products on. I have a social media site I just started that I'm just starting to blog again. I took a break from blogging, as Mike knows, that I used to blog a lot and kind of got burned out. So I'm getting back into that, and I do web development for clients and email newsletter designs, WordPress designs, stuff like that, and a little bit of social media management, similar to what Mike does, which is something actually fairly new to me to actually get paid to do. So. I
Yeah.
also run a golf cart rental business here at the beach where I live. So
Yes, and I'm absolutely jealous of the view you get to see every single day.
I
Since
love it.
I live here in Ohio, and there's not really much of a view. But one thing I wanted to touch on is your story of how you got started online is actually really interesting, and I kind of wanted you to touch on that before we delve into some of these other questions.
Yeah, it's actually I love my story, and I don't know if it's just because it's my story, but it was kind of accidental that I fell into everything. I had a plumbing business, and I ended up getting out of plumbing, and I started getting into some other home improvement stuff. I've been in the construction industry most of my life, and I started a fence business because I was a sales manager for a fence company, and the owner decided that he was going to do my job, and he made a suggestion to me that I should go ahead and start my own business, and I decided to go ahead and do that. And I was talking to some family and friends, and they suggested to me that I start blogging, and I start getting on sites like Twitter and stuff like that. And I started investigating it a little bit, and I decided that's what I was going to do. And my main thing was that I wanted to figure out a way to advertise my business online and not have to pay a bunch of money. And I didn't want to get into yellow page ads and stuff where you had to pay $1,000 a month and whatnot, and regular print and billboards and things like that, and radio. And I wanted to go strictly online, and that was it. So I hired somebody to build me a WordPress website for my first website that I had. And I immediately was addicted to it. I loved it. I wrote about everything that we did. I wrote about the industry. I wrote about projects we did. I posted pictures of projects we were doing, and it was a fence industry, so I posted pictures of bad fences, and then I posted pictures of fences we replaced them with, and things like that, and just started talking to people on Twitter and Plurk, which I don't know if people know what that is
Oh
anymore, but
wow, that's old school.
yeah, Friend Feed, Identica, just I got on every social media thing that you could imagine. I was on it, and some of them worked and some of them didn't, but I guess you have to, I had to go through that. And I got involved more with Twitter than anything back then. This was probably early 2008, and it was still, it wasn't new, but it was kind of fairly new, and you were able to connect with people. And I just kind of went out and searched for people in my area. I lived in the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina at the time, and I searched for people in my area, which was a big city, and started connecting with them. And I didn't try to sell anything to them. I just started talking to them. If they said something about coffee, I mentioned my favorite coffee place, or stuff like that. And next thing you know, I was getting invited to tweet ups and blogger bashes and stuff like that they were hosting in Raleigh. And everybody remembered me as that fence guy. They had no idea what my name was, but they remembered me as that fence guy. And whenever anybody thought of a fence, they hit me up on Twitter or sent me an email or whatever, and I got a lot of business that way. So I learned a lot that first year and made a lot of mistakes too, and spent a lot of time because I refused to spend money. And I think I wrote about that in the past on one of my other blogs that I had about how I probably spent 2 years learning how to do stuff when I could have maybe got some training or hired somebody as a consultant or something to
Yeah,
help me.
maybe hired me.
Yeah, I
Back
don't think you were around then, but exactly. That's my point. You know that maybe if I could have got some help, I would have gotten through that a lot faster. But it's still, I took a business from zero to, you know, $5,000 to $10,000 a month in a matter of months, just by using blogging and social media. And you know, I was hooked after that.
now, what really got you interested in social media?
Social media in the beginning, when I first got into it, was, and I haven't been around as long as a lot of people have, but when I first got into it, it was a great way to network, and I'm all about networking. And I'm used to, you and I were just talking about this a minute ago while we were getting set up about face-to-face networking and stuff. And I'm much more used to going out and meet people and talking to people and saying hi and being personable and stuff like that. And on social media, it was much easier to just search for things and people and stuff that was related to what you like or what you do or whatever, and immediately find those people and start interacting with them. So that was the thing that got me into it. It made it really easy to find what I was looking for.
Right, and now you said you do social media management, kind of like some of the similar things that I do. And you also do quite a few other things, but I wanted to know what you find like when you work with businesses. What do you find to be their most common misconception about social media?
The biggest thing is, more recently than anything, and this is going to probably come up in some of these other questions you asked me, is there's too many. I'm having this real big problem with all these measurements and things like that are going on, and there's not enough actual interaction and relationship building. And you know what? I used to harp on this kind of stuff. I was like, relationship building, that's not what this is about. And it's about selling, sell, sell, sell. And that's not what it's about. It's about building a relationship with somebody and getting to know them, and then building some trust. And that's the biggest problem I see with companies these days, is they just think that, hey, social media is the next big thing and we got to be on there and just pump our stuff out to everybody. And that's not what it's about.
Right, and that's the exact same thing I see. I see companies that just want to, they think it's just a marketing tool, and it's purely that. But I also say it's also a relationship tool. It's not just for you to sell your shit all day long. It's there for you to also connect with people and really build that rapport and really build that relationship. And this kind of gets us into the second thing. You're saying you have this thing about all these measurements and things like that. What are your thoughts on social media ROI?
I freaking hate it right now. I mean, I really do, because people are missing what the real return on investment is, and that's building a relationship with somebody. If I was to network with you about my golf cart rental business, let's say, and you don't live here, you live in Ohio, but let's say somebody that's coming to this area because I built this relationship with you, you're going to say, yeah, you got to go see this guy and rent a golf cart to drive around on the island while you're down there. And to me, that's what it's more about, because word of mouth advertising is, you can't put a price on it. It's priceless. It really is. And that kind of stuff is what people are missing, I think, when it comes to it. And ROI, and I've got this big problem with clout right now. Not necessarily what they are or what they do, but this whole, mine is bigger than yours measurement tool is driving me crazy. And to me, that's not what this was supposed to be about.
Yeah,
At least in my opinion.
oh, what's funny is I actually was going to ask you before we started up this chat. I forgot to add I forgot to add a question about clout. And like I know I've done quite a few videos and posts about it in just the last couple months. And the whole thing with clout is a lot of people look at it as their overall online influence, and that if they have a good clout score, then that means they're influential. But for me, it really comes down to other people that determine that. It's not, algorithms and software, in my opinion, doesn't really determine your pure influence. So I mean, what were your kind of thoughts on that?
Cloud is, and I still go there and I still look to see, how I'm doing on it or whatever. I guess you can't kind of help it,
Right. Yeah.
but I just think that when you look at it as a branding or as a company, you shouldn't look at stuff like that. You should look at how your interaction level is and things like that. When you go to say you look at your insights on your Facebook page, and you can see what kind of interaction you're getting and stuff like that. To me, that's more important. Are people actually interacting with you when you post something on Facebook? You know, Stuff like that is more important to me than whether or not my clout score is a 50, 60, 70, 80. Because
Yeah.
like you said, it's an algorithm. It's computers that make that up, but real people comment on your postings on Facebook or reply to you on Twitter or whatever the case may be. Real people, and to me, that's more of a return on investment than anything.
Yeah, and there's always been the in social media. There's always been the quality versus quantity debate. In your opinion, which is more important?
Well, I mean, it's obvious that the quality is more important, but you have to have some quantity. So, I mean, to me,
Right.
like a lot of things, there has to be some sort of balance there. But you can't just be spewing out some kind of crap just to put something out there so you have quantity. So, it's a balance to me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I've always focused on, quality and having a quality following and posting quality stuff. But yeah, it does. You do have to have some sort of quantity. Like, you're not going to get that far if you want to, like, say you want to do well on Facebook and your Facebook page only has like 50 fans. You're not really gonna reach the results that you want. So you kind of have to have some quality, but you also want to make sure you're pumping out good quality stuff too. I
That
mean,
brings me right up to you unfollowed me because I was pumping out bullshit
yeah,
on my Twitter, and we're friends.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it was because I had kind of stopped putting anything on there personally, and I still had all these things like Twitter feed and Triber and tweet old posts and stuff like that. And that was pretty much the only thing coming out of my Twitter for a while because I kind of gave up on it for a little bit. And well, not really gave up, but I just took a break. And I remember I tried to send you a DM, and I was like, I can't send Mike a DM.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah, and you were like, "Well, I unfollowed you because all that was coming out of your Twitter was automated bullshit," and it inspired the post that I did about automation and moderation, and that's true, and it could happen to any of us. I started getting into all that stuff that that automates everything just to pump stuff out, and it's not necessarily good. It's one thing to put a couple of things on a Twitter feed or to schedule some posts on Hootsuite just
Oh
to
yeah,
or use Buffer. I recently started using Buffer a
I
little bit.
love Buffer.
And I like the way that it schedules it. It puts it across the whole day or whatever, and doesn't just pump out stuff randomly. So I kind of like that. I'm just now getting into it a little bit, but I'm trying to not use anything automated much. I'm trying to do it myself, whether on the computer or on my phone or whatever, and really get back into interacting with people.
Yeah, and for everyone watching this, Buffer is bufferapp.com. It's pretty cool. It's great for scheduling stuff and, like you said, having it posted during the best intervals, during the day. So what's kind of your strategy? Would you say with social media?
I'm really trying to get back into, and my strategy has changed over the years so many times, but I'm really trying to get back to the basics, which is kind of the theme of my new website, that we go back to just talking to people and getting involved with talking to people that you follow and that follow you, and not necessarily just pumping out content, but having a conversation with somebody, about just random shit. It could be anything. And to me, it's kind of like I used to think of Twitter as a big cocktail party. And you're there and you got your name tag on, and here's my name at whatever, and you're just at a cocktail party and you're talking to people, and the guy that stands around pumping out his brochures to everybody, nobody's going to like that guy. But the guys that stand around talking about some sports or some coffee or food or whatever is they're interested in, those are the people that other people are going to remember, and they're going to remember exactly what they do for a living. And to me, that's what helped me with my fence business when I first started.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to touch on that real fast. Now, okay, last few months, Google Plus, Google Plus, Google Plus. That's pretty much all that's been in the news. And how many are actually active on the site? That's really another story. But how are you liking Google Plus so far? Because I see you use it here and there.
I love it actually. I love it, and the reason I like it, first of all, is there's not a limit to how much content you can put on it. I mean, you could literally write a book and
Yeah.
post it. Literally, you could, and I love that, and the fact that you just get real. It's back to real conversation. First of all, their API hasn't been released. I'm sure it will be, but it hasn't really been released to too many people, so there's no automation in it. Everything is something that you physically had to type in, or at least you had to share it because you found it on there, or whatever, or maybe you hit a +1 button on a website. But it's it's real interaction, and to me, that's where it gets back to being innocent and true. And it's not, which is what Twitter used to be before all these companies came in and built all these apps that let you schedule stuff and automatically follow and unfollow people.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Don't even get me started with Twitter feed. Like, oh my God, I just absolutely hate Twitter feed. I mean, if you use it a certain way, okay, whatever. But if you use it, if that's all you have, that's all you do on Twitter is just pump in blog posts or RSS feeds all day. Ah,
I do look at that, and it's not, Twitter's made it hard for you to look at where tweets are coming from. A little bit more than it used to be. It used to be in the bottom of every tweet, just like it was on like TweetDeck or something. You can see where it came from. And I go and look, and when I go on my TweetDeck, and that was part of my post that I wrote the other day, the first 10 that showed up on my screen, I think 8 out of 10 of them came from some automatic feed, and this was 7 o'clock in the morning. That's all that was showing up. And I was like, this is crap. This isn't what social is. So to me, we got to get back to the basics.
yeah, and still speaking on Google Plus, they had all this time to work on it. Do you think they kind of messed up a little bit by not having the business pages ready yet?
Honestly, I'm kind of mixed on that. I think it's good that it's not yet, that it gives people a chance to get to know it a little bit, and before it's filled with crap. Not that all business. I mean, you and I both kind of do this for a living, so I mean, I just went and ate dinner at one of my clients' restaurants that I do their Facebook and Twitter and Foursquare for, and I put stuff out, and I actually schedule a little bit of stuff for them, but I get on there and interact with people still, and it's not. I just don't think that everybody has to start somewhere. So if they had to start it in an alpha stage where it just lets certain people on or whatever, and you have to ask for an invite so they can work out the bugs before they release it to businesses and before premium stuff starts coming out and ads start coming out and stuff like that on it, I don't think that's bad. And let's face it, Google's good at what they do. And they've been trying to do this I mean, they've made a few mistakes already with Buzz, and
Oh God.
can't even think of the other one that came out that nobody liked. But Google Plus is good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm finding.
And obviously, Facebook's shaking in their damn boots. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. Facebook has been working their ass off, pumping out new updates. And two, at the time of doing this video, recording this video, like their developer conference is 2 days away, and they're supposed to be announcing a lot of stuff there. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. It's nice. It's nice having this competitive ness, because before, Facebook and Twitter, they had updates here and there, but once Google Plus came out, like the other social networks have really been rushing to.
it's funny the way Twitter hasn't done anything. They're like, oh, that's not us. We're different. And that's true. Twitter is 140 characters, and it's different, and it's not a conversation as much where multiple people can have conversations on Twitter. It's more of I talk to you, you talk back to me, and you might reply to more than one person at a time or whatever, but it's less of a group conversation, more of an individual conversation, the way I look at it.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Twitter, it is not a whole lot of information has been released about how they're going to do ads, how they're going to be working with advertisers. So I guess
They keep, they keep getting money though, so I don't know.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and they just recently got a new data center, so that should hopefully help with the fail whales and all
It's
that
much
stuff.
less than it used to be. I mean, you got on Twitter probably about the same time I did in 2008, right?
Yeah, yeah, like July 2008. Yeah,
All right, I was like February, March, whatever, but the fail whales used to come a lot back then, and there
a
wasn't
few a
near
day.
the
Yeah,
number of people that are on there now. So, And it's funny to watch people complain about it when it does happen, but it happens.
Well, I mean, I would think if a site got millions and millions of dollars in funding, they would be able to, get better server capacity and
That's true. I mean, you don't see that a lot with Facebook or even Google Plus or anything. They don't fail.
right, right. So are there any brands like off the top of your head that you think are doing well in social media?
Um, lately I've been following more sports than anything on social media, and I started interacting with. I'm a New York Giants fan, and I started interacting with them on Twitter, and I found out that they had a brand new app that came out for iPhone and Android, and I was interacting with them on Twitter and stuff, and they responded to me, and we interacted about it. That kind of stuff to me just it doesn't matter what brand that you follow, as long as they're interacting back with you. Like I've tweeted out things to GoDaddy, for instance. I decided I'm moving all my stuff to Namecheap, and not because of the GoDaddy guy going out and hunting elephants or whatever, like everybody else left. It was more about the service and the length of time it takes to check out. I mean, it takes 10 minutes to check out at GoDaddy. It's
Yeah, you
ridiculous.
have so many just like
It's
it's
ridiculous.
click,
All the
click.
add-ons, all the add-ons, all the add-ons, and at Namecheap, I
Yeah.
can go there. All right, I need a domain for a client. Let me go get it. Boom, and I'm done. And it just worked out much better for me. So I tweeted something about that, and they said that they were sorry to hear me that I was leaving, and they responded back to me. So I mean, I was impressed with that, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, too many brands, or even small business, even more. If there's a complaint, they either ignore it. If they see it on Facebook, they delete it. I had that happen to me, a local restaurant here in town. I went to their Facebook page and said something, sat in there, 15, 20 minutes, and nobody helped us. And I said something on their Facebook page about it, and it wasn't busy. And they deleted my comment on Facebook. So I went back on there, and I was like, so that's how you treat your customers that come in. You just, delete them if they have a complaint. And a few days later, the manager sent me a private message, and he was like, I was out of town on my honeymoon, da 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 da. I usually manage a Facebook page, and we're so sorry. Please come back in. And I went back in, and now I have a good relationship with him. But
Oh,
that's the
cool.
worst thing you could do is ignore. So to me, with brands, as long as they're interacting with people and they're not just pumping out buy stuff, then to me they're doing good. But I don't follow a lot of brands simply because I don't want to. I don't want to see bad habits and try to follow them. And there's a lot of them out there.
You mean there's businesses that are using social media the wrong way?
No, I wouldn't be a. Are you being a smartass?
No, no, not at all. So there's a post from Mashable just the other day, and there's talk about Facebook possibly rolling out a new profile design when they're during their Facebook developer conference. Now, like we were just talking about a few minutes ago, they've been rolling out a lot of changes lately. Have you had any time to really look at them? And if so, what are your thoughts?
It's funny because I think I just sent a tweet out like an hour ago that I'm sick of hearing about the design changes on Facebook. I mean, does anybody have an image of it? Has
No,
anybody seen
well,
it?
that's the thing. It's still a report. It's not confirmed yet. Like a
So,
lot of these tech sites, they post these rumors.
right. And I'm sure they do have something going on, and they're backpedaling. This Google Plus thing kind of hit them by surprise, I think, and it's been out for a couple of months, and it really took off, and maybe they thought it was going to be another buzz. No worries.
Well,
And
honestly, like I was saying before Google Plus even came out, I honestly didn't think that Google could do a good job at social, and then kind of bit myself in the ass there. And yeah, I like it.
well, I mean, they failed at the first one horribly,
Oh yeah.
and I tried it, and damn it, what's the other one where you can have like groups and talk and stuff? It's
Oh,
not
Google Wave.
the Google one that they did.
Google Wave.
Wave, yes,
Yeah.
Wave. That both of those failed, miserably. But this one, I go to it before I go to Twitter or Facebook anymore, you know. And back to what you were saying about the Facebook stuff, and I read the Mashable article and TechCrunch and CNN and all the other ones. To be honest, you can't ignore Facebook. I kind of have this love-hate relationship with them, and I get paid to use it, so I have to. But other than that, I'm kind of torn on it. So, but regardless, 300 million or however many millions of users are on it, you've got to stay with it. And I don't mind their design as it is. Why they have
I
to
think it's
redesign it?
great. I think it's great.
And I understand the subscription thing and the way they added these lists or whatever you want to call them. You know, like I suddenly see Carolina Beach and family and close friends and stuff in on the sidebar of my Facebook, and I'm just started to use that. You know, like it's nice to see stuff from local people because I do have some local friends, so I can click on that and see what's going on locally. So that's kind of convenient, and I think they're trying, but who are they being innovative about it, or are they just trying to chase?
Yeah, that's the real question. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see what
Happens.
happens.
It's kind of
And they've
still.
gone. If you go back and look over the years, you know, I've been on Facebook much longer than I've been on anything else probably. They've made a lot of changes, and usually they've turned out for the better. And people complain about it at first, but after you get used to it, just like anything else that changes, you know, you like it. So I'm sure it'll be good. They got a lot of money.
Yeah, just a little bit. Now, have you signed up for Friendster yet? I've heard that's really a hot social
I
network.
have not. You know, I've gotten away from signing up for every new social media thing that comes out from because back in, you know, like we were talking about back in 2008, I signed up for everything that came out. Identica, I was on, you know, Friend Feed, Plurk. I actually had a good time on Plurk. I enjoyed it. I met some people in related fields and stuff, and I enjoyed it. And I don't know why I just kind of stopped using it, but I pretty much stick to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, which I don't use LinkedIn enough anymore, you know. So I don't know what Friendster is, and I don't. To me, all these people are just kind of chasing the big few, and that's what it is. And you can't have 50 million different social media outlets. There only needs to be a few, and that's it. I mean, how many of them are you going to
Well,
follow?
too, the thing is, if you get on all these social networks, it's going to take your focus away more and more from each one. And if you stop focusing less on the most important ones, that's going to affect your results in some way.
Right, and then you're going to end up just feeding stuff to them.
Yeah, and then
I'm
you're
still
gonna
I'm still on Friend Feed.
yeah
My Twitter feeds to it. That's it. You
yeah
know.
yeah same here.
So I mean, it to me, it's just kind of a waste. There's a each one. You know, Twitter and Facebook are completely different to me, and they have each have their place. And Google Plus, I'm not sure yet. You know what its place is going to be. It's real similar to Facebook, but better to me. But it's similar in the fact that the interaction that you can have the group conversations and stuff like you would on Facebook is similar. And then they added the circles, and I like Sparks. I'm trying to use Sparks more and stuff. It could become a place where that's the only place you need to go. You know, and I've heard talk of people just saying that they were going to completely stop blogging and use Google Plus. I haven't seen anybody really do that yet, but it's interesting. You know, when you look at like Robert Scoble's stuff, he writes a dang blog post,
Yeah, it's
you know,
crazy.
on Google Plus, and you can't help but read it. And I read that more than I ever read anything else he's put out on his Google Plus. So it's different, and I like it. And I think it's innovative, and I think it's going to go somewhere.
Well, and two, the whole objective that I can see with Google Plus is not just to get people to stay, on Google Plus itself, but you've got the black bar on the top, and it's got the focus on all of Google's other properties, and that's where they're going to
Everything's
make their
Google. You
money.
got your Gmail, your documents, your reader, everything you need is Google, and that's the reason. You know, I was kind of torn. I wanted to get an iPhone because everybody's got to have something Apple.
Yeah,
You know, and I don't have anything Apple. I have a PC. I got an iPod. I do have an iPod, but I don't really have anything Apple. And I was kind of torn when I was switching from Sprint to Verizon, and the iPhone was $199 and my Droid was $150 or whatever. And it wasn't really about the money, but I kept thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Everything I do is Google. Everything I do
yeah.
is it's about Google, and I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. So I went with the Droid. They've got it. I mean, like you said, it's going to be where that's all you need. You go to google.com and everything you need is in that black bar. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Like I use Gmail, Android, Google
calendar.
Chrome, calendar.
Yeah, everything you need is right there, and I can sync it all together. And the stuff that's coming out, it's just and unbelievably. I mean, I paid for my phone. I don't pay for anything else. I physically don't pay for anything else. I don't use AdWords, so I don't really pay for anything else that Google gives me, and it's a lot of quality stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta love that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, before we finish up, I have just like two other questions. Do you have like a really favorite social media app?
I, you know what? I started using TweetDeck when it first came out, and I just keep going back to it. No matter what else I go to, I go back to TweetDeck. And I do have a pro account with Hootsuite, and I use it for my client stuff,
Yeah.
just to keep my personal separate from my client. But TweetDeck, I just seem to keep going back to it. And after all this stuff came out, I can't remember if it was Mashable or whoever that came out with this article about Facebook grouping third-party apps together. I started actually noticing that, like I'd see my Foursquare posting on Facebook, and then it would say, and four other postings from Foursquare underneath that. So they're not really showing up. So I've kind of gotten away from using third-party apps for Facebook, and obviously Google Plus doesn't have any third-party apps yet.
Yeah. Yet.
So I use TweetDeck on my computer, and I use Hootsuite on both my computer and my phone for clients, and then I use the regular Twitter for Android.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I tend to switch back and forth between Hootsuite and TweetDeck.
You were all about some Hootsuite not long ago.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. I keep switching back and forth. Like one day I'll use Hootsuite, one day I'll use TweetDeck. It's just.
So do you use the desktop app for TweetDeck, or do you use the Chrome app?
I tend to use the Chrome app more, just because it's just for myself, because you can't like use multiple accounts with it, but just like for my own stuff, like I use it because it's just very simple and to the point, and there's not a whole lot going on.
Most people have a big problem with the resources that TweetDeck uses. That's the biggest argument I've heard from people in the video that you did. How long ago was the first video you did for me for that?
Oh,
it was like a year and a half ago or so, or more.
I don't remember. It was a while ago.
It was a while ago, and then you just recently did another one for my new site, and that's the biggest thing I hear people always say is the resources, because it's an Adobe Air app. So
yeah, I used to have an issue with that, but then I got a quad core PC with like 6 gigs of RAM, and
really,
yeah,
you got more than I do. I'm still on an old 3 gig.
Oh,
I'm in the market. I'm in the market.
That's still good.
Yeah, and actually, I bought my computer in 2009 or something. I've had it a couple of years, so. But I'm in the market for something new, and I've been torn on that too with Apple. Everybody wants to have an Apple, and they say once you get one, you never go back to PC. But
and that's their marketing at work. It just like I even want an Apple computer, but the thing is, I can't justify the cost sometimes. Eventually I might get a Mac, but I just can't justify the cost.
And they can say you can buy a Mac and you never need a new computer, and to me that's not true. My computer's 2 or 3 years old. Well, if you look at a 2 or 3 year old Mac, it's got the same specs. My computer doesn't crash every 5 minutes or whatever. I don't go to stupid websites that give me viruses. So, to me, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's better quality or whatever, but I use a PC and I like it. And, I would love to get a Mac just like you, but it's hard to justify the cost. It's kind of like going out shopping for a car. I don't need a Cadillac. I'd like to have that Z06 that I just took some pictures of the other day.
Oh, yeah, that was nice.
But instead, I got a golf cart.
Well, cool. So one last question. If you could give one solid tip to anyone watching, what would it be?
It's the motto of my new site. Can I plug it?
Oh, hell yes. Yes, plug this shit out of it.
Socialweb101.com. It's about getting back to the basics. And it's about getting back to the things that I first learned about social media, which is what some of the stuff we just talked about. It's about, building a relationship with somebody. And I know me and you used to get in debates about this. And I used to say it's not about relationships, it's about selling, it's about money, period. And yeah, to an extent, if you're a business, it is about money. Mm-hmm. But without that relationship, you're not going to have any.
Yeah.
You'll go under. So getting back to the basics is the best tip that I could give anybody, which is, get out there and talk to people and network. Good old fashioned networking, Go back to some Dale Carnegie shit, Remember people's names. Call them
Yeah.
by name. Stuff like that. I'm the worst at that. I go to some places around here in town and I'll go there for months and have the same person wait on me, let's say, and can't remember their name. Cannot. If it wasn't for a name tag, I wouldn't know their name. I'm the worst at that. And that's one of the things that I need to work on is remembering people's names. But networking, true networking like it's supposed to be, to me is, not necessarily talking about, hey, I'm Keith and I sell this. Don't you want to buy it? No? Okay. Hey, I'm Keith. I want to sell this, and go on to the next person. So to me, that's where it's gone kind of awry, so to speak.
Well, one too, as time goes on, sometimes we forget the basics. They kind of get covered up by this, and things get monotonous. And we tend to forget those basics. But it's those basics that are the foundation of everything.
Exactly, and we all want that shiny new thing. There's always a shiny
Plus. What?
Yeah, there's always a shiny new app or a shiny new social network coming out, and everybody's jumping all over it. And even in this bad economy, it's amazing the amount of money that people are spending, and they just kind of throw it. Here it is, throw it here. Get us a Twitter account. Here, do this. And schedule everything. We don't need anybody to do it. Just schedule everything. And that's not how it works. It's not going to work that way to me.
Well, unfortunately, there's guys like you and I who don't just schedule stuff. We actually put in quality work into social media campaigns.
Exactly. And, I probably, like I said, I spend a lot more time on Google Plus, and I probably do a lot more just reading than I do interacting. But I look at the stuff that you put out there, and it's well thought out, and you use the tools that they provide you, like making stuff bold and italic and things like that grab attention of people. And that's, to me, that's getting back to the basics. It's about grabbing attention and talking to people. And I don't think I've ever seen you try to sell your consulting on there.
I do.
What the hell's the matter with you?
So I should just sell more.
But I mean, you have people that interact with you on just about everything you post on there. They interact with you, and they're going to remember that. You're building a network of people on Google Plus, and it's a true network of people. It's not just a following of people because they tweeted something. Or, I went through this spell that I was on this app called Tweet Spinner, and it would follow people based on what they said. Automatically, it would follow.
Yes.
If it said something about blog, it would follow them. If it said something about social media, it would follow them. Whatever interests I had, it would automatically follow them. If they didn't follow you back in a certain number of days, it would unfollow them for you. And it was a follower tool. And I went through this period of that, and I got up to like 15,000 followers because of it.
Oh yeah.
And they weren't real followers. Most of them are bots. So you're building a true network of people by interacting with people the way you do, and you're one of the few people. You don't get enough credit for it, but you're one of the few people that actually gets out there and talks to people and does it by the basics. And that's to me, that's what it's all about. And it actually, not to tell you that you inspired me to do anything, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. When I wanted to get into blogging again, I thought about what I wanted to do, and that's what I come up with for Social Web 101 is getting back to the basics and doing things the way they were meant to be done.
Well, cool. So, yeah, that's really awesome, and I really appreciate the kind words as well. So where can people find you? Where can they check out your stuff?
Socialweb101.com is my new website. Twitter, I'm at K Bloemendaal. Hopefully you'll put a link in there.
I'll link all that up so they can find you.
And Google Plus, Keith Bloemendaal. So Twitter and Google Plus is where I'm at mostly. I'm Facebook. I've knocked out all the BS, and I'm down to just 100 close friends and families on there, and that's it. So
yeah, I've done the same thing. I've really cleaned up over the last year or so. Just people that I really know.
And to me, the pages you can do whatever you want to with, but the Facebook, I don't know. When I first got on it, I got on it because I had a .edu email address. Yeah. I was in college, So it's come a long way, and I went out and really tried to hard network with people on Facebook, and it's really not for that, because you want to have personal conversations with close friends and family on there. And it's not like on Google Plus where I can send it out to a certain circle, and maybe they're changing that now with Facebook, where I can send it out just to a family circle, and those are the only people that see that. And with Google Plus, I could send something just to Mike, and we could have. Remember, I think me and you tested that out a little bit when it first came out. That we had a little private conversation on Google Plus, showed up in my stream and everything, but only you and I could see it. So with Facebook, it's just I don't give that out really.
Well, cool, man. I really appreciate you doing this video chat. And everyone, make sure to check out Keith and follow him, G plus him. Check out his new website and subscribe. And yeah, it was really cool chatting, man.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, cool. See ya.
All right.